Okay, everybody ready to begin? I've learned from doing a lot of these presentations, silencing a room is one of my weakest points. Even though I'm a very loud talker, I am terrible at silencing a room. I also noticed that my biggest fan club is in the front row here and it's empty. So I will pick on people further back. So if you want to move forward now, you can go for it. Also, one quick note. This glitching on the screen is not your imagination. So if this cuts out, we'll do the pantomime where you go behind you and I'll go, okay, and we'll rejig the HDMI. So yes. So I think we should get started really mainly just because there's so much to cover, because it says quick version, but I can yap all day. So this is what we're covering today. There's 154 slides. I don't know how I'm going to do it. We're going to cover a comprehensive, I'm just kidding. We're not going to be doing anything like that today. Today is a very quick 30-minute crash course masterclass on social media, from effective planning to making filming easier and better, editing that's simpler and has a bigger impact, and then publishing like a pro. So I'm going to talk through it today. And I think first, there's a really important question. And I know from the faces, I'm looking at people's faces, there's a really important question we're all thinking. Who is this guy? I've turned up to this free networking thing and there's a guy doing a social media talk. Oh, maybe I'll find value in that. Who is he? Well, I want to give a quick intro to myself. I'm Matt Stevenson, for anyone who's never seen me present before. We almost had to do it. I'll build it in. We'll make it a bit like a comedy routine, like it's me versus the screen today. We'll try our best. But I'm actually, funnily enough, a former government economist. So whenever I was growing up, I didn't enjoy school. I kind of did it because I had to, obviously. My favorite subjects in school, I don't know if anyone can relate, were the ones I was best at, because it was just turn up, do it, go home. And any subject that had practical elements, I felt really strong with. And whenever I was about 18, when you're about to go to uni, I made a last-minute decision to go and do economics at university, because it was a really simple career path with strong salary, and it just seemed like a rock-solid career. From there, I have went on to start my own social media company. I do social media training, workshops, and I've worked with some of the brands that you'll see on the screen here. I don't know if you recognize any of them. What's that? 4 rings. Is that the Olympics? Might be the Olympics. So I went from writing economic reports, just like that one there. It's called the Household Expenditure Tracker. It was, for any geeks in the room, it was a way to track the lowest earning households' income in Northern Ireland, the first of its kind. It was used in BBC newsletter, Belfast Telegraph. It was a really, really widely renowned publication. I also used to work in cost of living, the energy crisis, Brexit. So I always like to say, in my career, I was at the forefront of all the worst things that have happened to this country economically in the past 10 years. I didn't cause them, but I just tried to make a salary off the back of it. Whenever you think about Brexit, it paid my salary for a couple of years. Just saying, no politics involved there. As well, funnily enough, at the time, it was a very scary phone call, but Boris Johnson used my Brexit stats on the news on BBC. And that at the time was a phone call of like, how the F did he get these stats? And I was like, I just took a call, I don't know. I just thought it was being helpful. Now I can do presentations and say, yeah, no big deal. Boris Johnson used my stats in presentations, just saying. And we had a really good belly laugh there, thank you. I'll pay you your £20 later on. I appreciate it. Then, like I said, I moved on to making videos my full-time work. So I bet you my luck will be this will cut out as I try to point towards something. So we'll try and make it quick. My first kind of massive opportunity in terms of doing something digitally was during lockdown. Anyone remember that word? Lockdown? Oh, yeah. I gotta give you £20 as well. Like, that was a really good face to describe it. Ugh. I enjoyed lockdown because it kind of gave me a chance to reset. And I remember the chair of our board at the time when I worked in economics said, I really want to buy a scarf from a local business. First world problems, I know. And I said, Sheila, I can't help you. But then I went home and made a website called Support Local NI. Took me a couple of days. I came back in that Friday and said to Sheila, I made your website, by the way. She said, what do you mean? I showed it to her. Here's a website that is a free local directory for local businesses. I made it for fun. It was just to express some creativity and try to help people. She said to me in that conversation, you will get a phone call this afternoon. Tell the woman what you did. And I was like, ominous, weird. Took the phone call, and it was the Irish News. It was a reporter from the Irish News who was her cousin. They did a piece, and from there, everything exploded across 3 months. So I was on the actual national news. I remember it being 6:29 p.m., no joke. I luckily didn't have to reference it. 6:29 p.m., and I was watching the news with my parents, and I was like, they've bumped me. I did a 10-minute segment at Victoria Square, and they bumped me. And then at the last minute, I was on long enough to get a screenshot to use in presentations for the next, well, it's 5 years. It'll be, you watch Come to Something in 10 years, I'll still be using the same screenshot. I'll have no hair left and like a gray beard, and I'll be like, remember that time I did that one cool thing 20 years ago? Yeah. Off the back of that as well, I did digital billboards, so we had them all across the city center. Does anyone remember Guilt Trip Donuts? Yeah, a couple of people. We gave away 100 free donuts and coffees to celebrate having 100 businesses on the site. As well as that, I then moved into doing, I guess you could call them like food reviews. I started making content from there in terms of showcasing local businesses. So I was kind of showcasing any kind of local business. And then food and drink was a kind of passion, a hobby. They were starting to open up again. Remember the Eat Out to Help Out scheme? 2 for 1, COVID mass spreader thing they were doing. Remember that word, COVID? So from there, I just started making videos for fun. I'd been making some content online over the past couple of years before that. I was one of the early YouTube partners. I remember back in 2008. YouTube started in 2005. I was kind of there in the first 3 years. No big deal. I actually got signed with a partner agency whenever I was 14 or 15 for making videos. I made like $300, only I never got a cent of that or a penny of that because the company that signed a lot of us creators turned out to be a scam and they shut down. So 14-year-old me never got that $300, which would have been, to be fair, probably £1 million with inflation. Freddos were what, like 10p back then? 25p now? It's a farce. Anyway, I digress while the screen's still up. So I then started doing the food showcases. So this woman here, it's a woman called Willetta from Bethel's Kitchen. It's in Dromore. Whenever I went to see her, it was a random Wednesday. And quite literally, I said to her, what's your busiest queue you've ever had? She said like 4 people. She said, we're doing real bad at the moment. I said, I'm here to make a video. She was like, huh? It's like, just make a couple of bagels, we'll film a video. That got picked up by the news. The Irish News newsletter, Belfast Live. I've omitted them from the screenshots because they don't deserve it. If anyone who doesn't like Belfast Live. Some people usually go, So what I did was, got 100,000 views in the first 24 hours. And it absolutely just rocketed her business. Now, over a year on, she has something like 4 or 5 staff. She's getting a second location. She has a pickle beer with a brewery in East Belfast. So she makes her own homemade pickles from America. That's where she's from, by the way, just to clarify. It's not a random Northern Irish woman. Oh, she's making American food. She is American, by the way. She has a pickle beer, all off the back, really, of one video, a couple hours a time. And that just sparked everything. Belfast Telegraph asked me a couple of months ago to give my opinion on influencing and making content and the food scene in Northern Ireland. So it was like quite a nice jump scare for people to get halfway through the newspaper. But the weirdest thing that happened is that off the back of that, I mean, if you look up here, top left, outside Victoria Square, a stock image website is selling a photo of me like this. Like the reporter said to me, can I take a picture of you? I was like, yes, that's fine. I'm like, hello. Someone sent that to me. £15. If you need marketing materials for your website, don't give them the £15. We'll take a picture today, me and you. Give it to me. I don't know. I don't pocket anything from that. Probably should sue them for it. No, I'm joking. So yeah, Food Featured is the name of the brand that I run for hospitality marketing. At its peak, we were doing 1 million people a month watching stuff in Northern Ireland. It was crazy. I did a video on a barbecue place in Derry, Londonderry, whatever you want to call it. Maybe we got the 2 sides of the room. I can look at each of you. Or the 2 people in the audience who actually care. We're not trying to make it political. But it was 1 million people a month, about 3 million views. And I remember that place was literally, and it's in the Derry Journal newspaper, her telling the story, her business was 2 weeks away from closing. It was really doing bad financially. I messaged her on a Thursday night and said, I'm going to make a video on Friday. Is that cool? She was like, who are you? I said, just be there and have some food ready and we'll just do a quick video. It got so big, she has literally had people fly from Texas from the video to come to Northern Ireland to eat the food. So there was a couple who were over from Texas, down south over the border. My video popped up on their TikTok For You page. They, no joke, booked an Airbnb the next day in Northern Ireland, went to Derry, Londonderry, ate the food, and went back on their trip over the border. One video. It's just the most incredible example of what you can do. But that's enough of me withering on in circles. I would like to follow on from Stephen. If you thought his icebreaker activity made you nervous, I'm about to make you really start to sweat. Like if you thought 1 minute up front was bad, I'm going to pick on a few. You look really nervous, actually. I think I'll pick on you. I'm just kidding. My style of humor is really repeatable. I'm going to keep making the same joke over and over again. I like to imagine, not that anyone's ever said it to me, my humor is probably quite Marmite, where there's some people looking at me with a really straight face like, fuck, this guy's boring. Like, he needs to stop. And some people going, I actually kind of like this guy. I'm getting out of work. Get to chill. But I think we should begin, because the 154 slides was a joke, but we do have a couple things to cover. Throughout, take pictures of the screen. I can send you the slides afterwards. I can send you notes afterwards. I have a stall just out there. It's the one with just a piece of paper that says, ask me anything. We'll do a question and answer at the end. But if you don't want to ask in front of a whole audience, I'm just going to be sitting out there doing that TikTok style thing of, I'm a lawyer. Ask me anything if you've seen that style of content. One person nodded. Perfect. All you need is the one person. So when it comes to planning, you have to be effective with it, because who here, just to do a kind of sense check, who here owns a business? Yeah, like nice and high. Like, let's raise our hands nice and high too. Let's get a good stretch going, right? Who here works for a business? Okay, who here works in marketing or social media? Okay, and then who here, like who's watching this today, has somewhat of a vested interest in learning a little bit about social media? Okay, cool. I remember speaking at Inst before, and I said, who here wants a digital career in marketing? No one. So I always like to say, when it comes to planning, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. That's Ben Franklin, good buddy of mine. Been dead for a good while, but Marmite sense of humor. So what is the role of social media in a customer's journey? Does anyone want to shout out for me? Let's see how talkative we are today. Someone over here. What's the role of social media in, say, for your own company? Front row here. To nurture. Someone at the back? Conversion. Someone over here, please. Connection. Someone. Build trust. Okay. That is, you guys have probably seen this next slide already then. It's helping people find the right service at the right time. So like you guys are saying, nurture, trust, conversions, it's a journey. If you, just like with Stephen with the networking point, if you honestly expect to throw up one social media post and blow it up and suddenly become a millionaire, you are the 0.0001%. I think the more realistic goal for all of us in this room is showing up every day, getting better at making content, getting more comfortable with it, and getting success that you can track and actually be able to find out what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And the reason that is so important is, if I have just bought a house and I get ads for mortgages, how useful is that to me? Not very. Okay, what happens if my brother's just about to buy a house? It's actually pretty useful to me. So it's about context. And who here scrolls their Instagram or TikTok really fast? Like, I'm kind of like boom, 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 boom. Like, I actually don't even know how my brain processes stuff fast enough to know. And if you actually are conscious for even 1 second of how you scroll, you'll find there's certain things in videos that stop you for longer. I don't mean the people who go, I will stop you in your scroll. Here's 3 things you didn't know about stopping a scroll. I actually saw a new TikTok feature released on the 18th. And someone made a video saying, if you use this feature, you will get millions of views. I have got 7,000 followers off this feature. I went to their profile, cynically, because you should always kind of question what you see online. And every video she had 100 views, apart from the video where she said, use this new feature. So was it the feature that boosted her, or was it talking about the feature? It's just little interesting ways of understanding why you're seeing stuff on your feed and why you're not. Because people, myself included, probably everyone in this room, we are inherently selfish, and understandably so. If you are browsing your feed, it could be before work, it could be on lunch, it could be at night, it could be after a really stressful day, it could be after a breakup, it could be on the happiest day of your life. So why should you watch my video over someone else's video? Like, why? And why should people care, and who's most likely to care, are 2 questions I drill into businesses and marketing teams religiously. Because who should care is super important. And who here has ever made a video that's bombed before? Like, did real bad? Come on, let's own up to it. I still get videos that don't do very well. Like, I'm the one on stage talking to you guys about it, and even I have to admit, not every video is always going to do well. And then you got to think as well, who's most likely to care? Because whenever you're planning your content, it is about making sure that whatever's on their feed is as impactful as possible for that person, because the Instagram and TikTok algorithms these days are so hyper-focused. It knows stuff before I even know it. It's showing me Maltesers ads whenever I'm thinking, oh, I actually want a little bit of Maltesers. Have you ever, maybe I'm just the weird one, but have you ever tried to like say something to your phone before and get the ad to pop up? Has it ever worked? For people not, yeah. It's kind of freaky. Like I was saying about the Maltesers, I was randomly craving Maltesers the other night and I saw a Maltesers ad. I thought, TikTok, how do you know that about me? I probably searched Maltesers or something. Another important question I get all the time. So I have almost 100 million views online. Do you need millions of views? Anyone want to shout out? I got the Rory's Travel Club team in the house. Give a cheer for Rory's Travel Club. Anyone remember Rory's Travel Club? Yes. Clearly not if we didn't even have a cheer, guys. Come on. I just had to tell Rory later on, I put you guys in under flame there. But they get literally millions of views a month. So do you guys think you need millions of views to get the impact? That's a politician's answer. No, I'm only joking. The answer, I picked on you guys because I know for a fact you have millions of views. The answer is no. You don't need millions of views. For someone, a company like Rory's Travel Club, that's so scalable that if you get millions of views and you get a 1% conversion, it just moves outwards that way. But for most businesses, service-based businesses, I mean, who here wants to shout out the type of industry they serve? We have Nickel Oils in the room, right? Yeah. Is Sears still here? Yeah, Sears Motors. God, my memory is just so good. I don't know anyone on this side. What's a company you guys work for? Front row, please. Okay, excellent. Excellent. And then the row back, we have fire safety. Yeah, and then Rory's Travel Club. We'll forget about you guys. And then across over here. Can we close that door, please, guys? Thank you so much. So my point is, whenever you have a company that is more of a service-based company or something more locally based, does anyone just serve Northern Ireland, Ireland, UK? Yeah? Want to put your hands up? Who kind of serves more of a local market? Yeah? So my marketing company pretty much kind of just serves like the two islands, basically. And the reason for that is views, likes, and followers are mostly vanity metrics. If you turn up to your manager on a Monday morning and they say, how's the socials going? And you say, one of our trendy videos where I scoop cream off a hot chocolate and throw it at someone. Again, someone will know the reference. That got 1 million views. And they go, okay, well, how come I have to fire you? Because our sales are so far down, I can't afford to keep you. Oh, sorry, I did a TikTok trend. I thought it would save my job. It's just a vanity metric because followers are less important than ever because it doesn't matter. No one really goes to your profile anymore. I can see 1 million things on my feed. I don't follow them, but they show me the same guy every week. There's a car dealership in America I watch. Sears, I guess is an example for you. And they're always doing videos. I'm not in America. I'm not buying a car in America, but I'm seeing their stuff. So in a way, I'm a vanity metric for them. But they get paid off advertising because they're in the millions of views. For actual businesses, it's not as important. But here's how you get millions of views. Anyone interested in how you actually get millions of views? Yeah? I thought you'd be a bit more excited. Let's just, you know what, I'm going to quickly take this down and write it to say, who wants to get 10 views? Bigger cheer. Fantastic. So you might want to take a picture of this. Next slide. So it's like a formula. It's like an equation. It's how to make content that's really, really good and gets millions of views. So I'll get it up on screen. Oh, that's it. That's literally as simple. Now, in my full kind of workshops and presentations, we go into a bit more detail on it. But for the high level for this 30 minutes here, you have to make great content and do it again. So does anyone want to define for me what is great content? Like there's no wrong answer, it's personal preference. Someone in front row here, Belfast City Marathon. You want to run some ideas past me? When we follow any of the current trends already. Yeah, okay, cool. And then someone way at the back, the red shirt guy at the very back there.
Backflip in a drone through a window for a coffee.
Damn. See, now that is, I probably would buy the £1 million house. No, I can't afford that. That's cool. Yeah. So has anyone ever had a video that's hit 200 views, 300 views? Do you know the term for that? No? It's called TikTok jail. So whenever you come back from holiday and you're stuck in your emails, it's called email jail. They've taken that creatively and called it TikTok jail. So whenever your video gets stuck, the algorithm has told you how good the video is. So your backflip, drone, whatever it is, we both think that's super cool, but if it gets 10 views, we're kind of like 20% of the people who thought it was cool. Whereas if someone does something else and gets 1 billion views, like everyone know who Mr. Beast is? Yeah, he's kind of everywhere. I think if your mum knows who he is, or someone like your granny knows who he is, you're probably doing pretty good. He actually can't go into Walmarts anymore, funnily enough. He gets recognized too much. I'm talking about him like I know him. Oh, Jimmy, great guy, doesn't know me. So the real thing here is, this is the honest answer of why. No one cares about you. I'm not actually pointing at people, I'm pretending like I'm pointing at people, I'm not that mean. But no one cares about any of us in this room. Because like I said, whenever you're scrolling on socials, it's boom, boom, boom. Oh, that caught my attention. Boom, boom. Oh, Be Perfect has launched a 20th shop. Whoa, how are they expanding so fast? Again, some people probably get that reference too. It's crazy how fast they're expanding. So you have to keep that in mind behind everything you're planning. And then as well, here's how to never run out of ideas. So we've kind of talked through the right person, the right time, the right content. We'll get into the filming and editing in a second. So how do you never run out of ideas? And you think I'm going to fake you out saying, take a picture, and it's going to be like a picture of me smiling with my thumbs up? That'd probably be a good joke, though. That is the 4 E's. It's a framework that I teach the businesses pretty much every week. So it's a way of always being able to make new content. So I feel like sometimes I set myself up for failure by doing so many jokes and being like, no, for real, that's actually a real framework. Like there's no like hidden UV text on there of like, oh, there's a joke in white writing and you highlight it. We'll talk through it. It's like a different way of looking at like a marketing funnel, but for social media. So sorry if I put anyone to sleep going technical for just like 1 minute, but just indulge me. As you go from, a marketing funnel usually goes top to bottom, so wide is just people straggling, and then the bottom is sales. This goes left to right. So your left is the top of the funnel, so you're gonna make content that either entertains, so it's your trends, it's your backflips while doing a house, or educating, so it's like guides. And I always think any company that has information to share is in a massive advantage online. Trends come and go, how you do your trends is up to yourself, personality, that's all different. If you're able to educate, that is how you will never lose a relevancy. And you can do like guides, knowledge sharing, trends, personality, words we've all said so far. Then as people become aware of your brand and they get to know you, you can then push them across to the smaller part, which is the excitement and the empowerment. So endorsements, events, testimonials, social proof. Whenever people are more warm to what you're doing, I would sprinkle in. Everyone remember Salt Bae? Yeah, the guy sprinkled the salt off his arm. This is kind of like that side of it. So you should sprinkle in a little bit of excitement, a little bit of empowerment. But as you're building your presence and trying to get known online, it's definitely about that entertainment and that education. And you can mix them. You can have a great personality or someone who works for your company give really good information that would be boring to anyone else in a way that's entertaining with minimal editing. So if you have someone like that in your company, hold on to them for dear life because it's quite rare. Genuinely, some people don't want to be on camera. You can train them, but you have to want to, and some people are just naturally better. Some examples to show like I'm not just making stuff up. I worked with a woman called Antonia from Investing Insiders in London. So genuinely, like no joke, she's a really good account to follow. I don't work with her anymore, our contract is done, but she gives really good investing pension advice, and I wish I got a commission every time in a presentation I talked about her because I probably wouldn't be doing the presentations anymore. I'd be with Mr. Beast. So we brought her from zero followers, never making a single video in her life, to 20,000 followers, 5 million views, all in 9 months. It's just so powerful, it just doesn't want you to know the secrets. She's actually now, that was during our 9-month contract. Since then, without my involvement, I'm hands off. I haven't touched it since. She's went on to grow an Instagram account to 16,000 followers, which is way harder than TikTok, just to say. And she's up to 25K followers. Newspapers in England, like The Sun, just seeing whose faces did something with that. Daily Mail, I'm actually just still looking. There's other trusted newspapers she's been in as well. The Times, etc., have all used her TikToks embedded in articles about financial literacy. So love it or hate it, she's getting extra attention, and they wouldn't have found her if it wasn't for her content. And this is actually the formula. I don't know if it's worth taking a picture of, but this is the exact step-by-step we did. So we worked together for 9 months, and every week we did the same thing. And once we got bedded in with a bit of training at the start, I'm not joking, the process was literally as simple as this. We didn't deviate once. Maybe she was sick for a week, I was off for a week, we changed it a little bit, but she would brain dump here's how a pension works, here's how this works, into a big Google document. I would take that and write a script. So I would optimize a script for TikTok with a hook. Everyone know what a hook is, yeah? Kind of hook you in, the main content and then the payoff. We'll break that down later on. And then give it back to her. She would film them with an iPhone and a basic mic in her house, in an office in her house. She didn't have a big fancy setup. It wasn't even the newest iPhone. And she did that. The videos were edited, super simple. After this, if you look up Investing Insiders, you can watch some of the videos. It's simple. Subtitles, basic cuts to take out the ums, the ahs. It's honestly as simple as it goes content-wise. And then she would upload them from her side. We did that week after week for 9 months with big success. As well, social media can work in any industry. This is a barbecue place called Smoke Barbecue. Has anyone been to Smoke Barbecue? Yeah? They do like the most amazing £35 a head. I promise I'm not on commission for Smoke Barbecue, but £35 a head on a Thursday night for all you can eat barbecue. Just saying, it's pretty. They just launched a Tomahawk deal, 2 for £80, mad. I promise I'm not on commission. I'm just a vocal spokesperson for them because I just love what they do. We did some training together. I'll show you the process in a second. And they went from like 1,000 followers, kind of just uploading stuff, doing some trends, to a pretty solid like 3,500 followers. Amy, who's their marketing assistant, who never really filmed before, we did some sessions together over 12 weeks. And she did this video that I didn't touch. I didn't edit it. I didn't film it. I didn't tell her to do it. I just saw it on my feed one day and I went, oh, Amy's done a video without, as part of the training. Like, let's see what she's done. It went kind of viral. It went so viral, everyone was talking about it. And what was great was they didn't use influencers. They didn't need any external support. She, 2 months before that, never really touched a phone or a camera in her life. And she was able to do it. My point behind this isn't to brag and say, yes, I'm so good. I will teach you how to do everything. It's just to show simple processes. I'm not going to give you a big thing on screen, like a big framework that's 50 steps, and you go, how the heck do I know what I'm doing? We did sessions. She filmed. She learned to edit, and then she just checked them by email. It was literally just as simple as that. If someone like that who's never filmed before can go to making content that works and actually drives sales for their business as a barbecue place in Northern Ireland, anyone who works in any industry in this room can do it. We've had financial services and barbecue. Maybe they'd work well together. Maybe like a financial services pension talk over some barbecue, and we just like put headphones in whenever they're talking about the pensions. I don't know. Filming. Has anyone here never filmed before? Like with a phone? Like, I'm talking proper for business. Yeah? Never? Who here would say they're pretty confident in making content? I know the Roy's Travel Club. I don't know your name actually, but I watch your content all the time of you saying about the deals. Sorry, not to put you on blast. But who here is pretty confident making content? Yeah, like obviously I have to put my hand up. Who else? Yeah. Who would say they're kind of like delving into it? Like, I want to explore it more, but I've had some success. Yeah, okay. So this is the part that's going to be really interesting for you guys then, because the myth is you need professional equipment to succeed. Does anyone believe that, or have you heard that before? I hear it all the time. I train companies and they say, oh, we don't have $8,000 for a camera and this. I'm like, you literally don't need that. I have all those fancy cameras and I use them for clients, but this phone right here isn't even the newest iPhone. This is a 15 Pro. This is almost 3 years old. You know what I mean? So, it just doesn't want you to know. The myth broke it. We're turning green screen as well. We're going colors I didn't even know it could do. But this phone here has got me 60 million views online. Like, it is just the most simple device. You can edit on it, you can film on it, and as much as I love the look of the new shiny iPhone 17 Pro, Apple, sponsor me, send me one. I'll get everyone in this room to buy an iPhone and then we can, no. Who was I even doing that joke for? Tim Apple. Someone got that reference. So I told you, Marmite sense of humor. So 60 million views from that. Here are my phone settings. If you've seen any of the content, if you look up any of the food feature content afterwards, I don't want to like toot my own horn too much, but like I've had people ask me, like big marketing companies, what camera do you use to film that food? And it's a 15 Pro. And I almost don't want to upgrade this, because if I came out with a brand new iPhone and said, this is what I use for my content, people would automatically assume, yeah, well, it's the newest phone, of course it'll look good. The older this gets, the prouder I'll be that I'm going to keep using the tools right instead of just getting a new tool. Take a picture of that if you want to. I can send you the slides afterwards. If you want, I can point out the most important settings too. Oh, you almost didn't get it there. So we'll do it quick before it cuts off again. So we'll kind of break it down a little bit as well. And also you can ask me at the table afterwards too, as this might feel overwhelming to some people. If you have, who has an Android in this room actually? Get out, get out. No, I'm joking. Your settings will be similar. If you want to come up to the table afterwards, I can kind of set your phone up for you if you need it. So film all your video in 4K 30. You don't need to say why. Who here is kind of thinking, you don't have to say it like out loud too much, but who here is kind of going, why? Everyone, yeah. Okay, so you don't need to know why. I'll explain it afterwards if you want, but just trust me, the 4K 30, we'll break it down. Forget about slow-mo, forget about cinematic. Stereo sound just means it comes from both speakers, so just leave that as default. QR codes, pretty useful. Grid and level, turn them on. One of the biggest things you will get from today, if you don't already have it on, turn on your grid. See, whenever you turn on your grid, it turns your camera, if we can see it here. I don't know if anyone can see that. I'll maybe show something a bit more. It has lines up and down, right? If you turn that on, centering a person becomes literally put their face in that middle square. If you're filming food, put your thing in the square. Anything you film, a building, an event, put it in the square in the middle. It'll help you so much, and it'll give you more wiggle room in the editing process. Across, the most important settings on the right are lock, white balance. So if anyone doesn't know, white balance is whenever you're filming, if you've ever walked past something that's white, it goes kind of blue. You walk past something brown, it goes kind of like orangey. It's that kind of blue and orange difference, right? So if you lock your white balance, it means whenever you're filming, the sun can come out, the clouds can come out, someone can turn on a lamp in your office. It won't affect what you're filming whatsoever. So make sure you lock your white balance. And then as well, HDR video, turn it off. For now anyway, maybe in a couple of years they'll fix the platforms. Has anyone ever been watching a TikTok and their phone suddenly got really bright? It's a kind of niche thing to kind of realize. But what's happening there is your phone's taking in, I'm not trying to get too technical, but it's taking in really dark and really white, so it helps boost the contrast between the two colors. The platforms support it, but you could have your video perfectly done, and then what'll happen is it'll just go, nope, we're gonna make it really bright. It's like turning a torch on, so if you understood that or don't, just turn it off. And Androids do the same thing. Everyone know what 4K is? Yeah, I feel like TVs have been 4K for like 10 years now. So for anyone who doesn't know, the difference between 1080p, which was HD, and 4K, in short, is that 4K is twice as many pixels as 1080p. Again, I'm not trying to get too much in the technicalities, I'm just trying to give you the context. What that means is you have 2 times the movement on your screen to zoom in. So in full workshops, if you were to take a video of me and you're in 4K, you can zoom it in to fix, if I was off to the side, we can center me, you can put some room above and beyond. In 4K, it gives you that wiggle room. So just trust me, film in 4K. I think it comes as default on most iPhones, but then you export in 1080p. And we're doing this kind of fast today, so this technical part usually goes a lot slower. So I'm sorry for anyone who's either falling asleep or going, my head is so sore. Where's my paracetamol? Oh wait, no, it causes. Some people get that joke. I'm not into politics. It's just funny. So if you want to take a picture of this, you can digest it. Email me afterwards. Test it with your content. Everyone use CapCut or know what CapCut is? Yeah. Yeah. So most editing software will have the same kind of settings. Mobile on the left, like iPhone, laptop on the right. If you want to test some content over the next couple of weeks and then email me for free, obviously, and check in, like a lot of the stuff today you might just have to digest, so fair enough, but I just want you to have a picture of that, a screenshot of that, because at least next time you go to export off CapCut or your editing software, if you reference it and at least put it in, then it's good. Because the thing you need to look at most is your code rate, your bit rate. It's also called, again, sorry, I'm not trying to get too technical, make that as high as it goes. That's basically, I can take non-HD footage and make it higher quality than your 4K footage with the wrong optimizations. So I can make mine look better than yours if you don't know what you're doing. Other tips, like I said, use grid lines. That's a better way of showing them. If you were to sideways or upways, put your subject right in the middle of those lines, you literally cannot go wrong, because a lot of social media, especially if you're not super competent with it or you're learning it, is to just make it effortless. So whenever you first go to the gym, you're like, what's this exercise? It feels weird. 2 years into it, you're like, give me that now. I'm not there yet. Another really cool tip I teach people is about filming people. So whether you're setting up your camera on a tripod or you're filming someone, this is a super good way to look at it. So does anyone know who Casey Neistat is? I love the internet references. He's up, 5 years ago, if I said that, everyone would have said, yeah, I know who Casey is. You're gonna get 40 quid later on, I think it is now. So he was like the OG vlogger. Like he was the guy sharing his life on YouTube. He didn't monetize his first 100 million views. If anyone knows what YouTube pays for 100 million views, he could have bought a couple of Bentleys with what he didn't monetize. But he famously wears sunglasses all the time. And it's not to look cool. He says it's because his camera has a screen that pops off to the side. You'll see him not looking at the camera. He'll always be looking at himself to make sure he's framed. So with that in mind, the reason for the red zones really far below and left and right are because if I was to be on camera and I'm looking too far to the right, you'll see my eyes not looking at you. Whereas if I'm just slightly above or slightly below, you won't even notice. And if it's about 2 meters away, or maybe like a meter or 6 feet away, you won't even notice with the angle and the curvature of the lenses. Again, not trying to get too technical. It also works this way. So I don't know if anyone wants to take a picture of that before I move it on, but too far left, too far right, no. Just slightly above, just slightly below is perfect. And I'll show you a really easy way of remembering that. I see people taking pictures. The screen didn't cut out, so you're lucky there. Here is exactly how you do it. So if you were to get one of those little Post-it notes or a piece of paper or even a piece of masking tape, anything with a bit of color, put it just below your camera in that exact position. You're filming a person who they're not really confident on camera. Tell them, look at the green piece of paper. They'll feel so much more chill. And that's another reason why a phone is so good. If I was to pull out the Sony Cameratron 9000 with all the attachments, you're gonna go, whereas if I pull out the iPhone and go, it's not even the newest iPhone, 60 million views on an old iPhone, come on guys. You're gonna go, okay, maybe. See, I told you, we actually do have a lot to cover to be fair, so we're gonna keep going through it. I struggle to get, there's so much value to add, it's tough to put it into 30 minutes, so we'll kind of get through it. Everyone here has heard of a hook. You know what a hook is? Well, whenever you're thinking of content, hook is like the first, it's like the 101. Forget about the hook. Everyone knows the hook. Stop the scroll. Stop the scroll. If I hear another guru online say stop the scroll, I might actually just stop my scroll and delete TikTok. No, my job will disappear then, but anyway. So you want the hook, the main content, and the payoff. So that is, in more layman's terms, the scroll stop, the watch time, and the engagement. And everyone talks about the hook. And it's actually starting to irritate me because I can get you to stop on any video. Give me a really boring subject like finance. I will get you to stop on the video. And you could do it literally as bluntly as, here's how your pension's going to disappear in 2 years. Oh shit, my pension's going. Oh no. And then if the rest of the video is awful, if the main content is awful, you go, oh, you got me. Boom. You know how powerful it is to show your opinion online these days? Boom. You just scroll straight past. So I've got your opinion. Boom. Whereas in real life here today, you have to stand up and walk out the door. So I've stopped your scroll and now you're in the main content. So if I see maybe in the future, some people will be trying to swipe away in real life. But yeah. What you want to really focus on as you bring people through is a story. And it brings people across to the payoff. So a payoff doesn't, by the way, have to mean buy my thing. So if you're doing the car videos for Sear, it doesn't have to be like, here's a really slick, blah, 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 blah. By the way, buy it today. If someone's in the market for a car and they see that content, they're gonna want to buy it. If they've just bought a car on a 4-year lease, they're not gonna care what you have to say. But everyone, like Stephen was saying, everyone's got friends, everyone's got family. And think about how many times you can just push the share button and say, you were looking at a car, here's a car right here. And actually it's within your budget and it's the car you want, right? We'll go through as well. Something I teach in more detail too is a black screen. Oh, there you go. My Lego editing framework, I guess, depending on maybe how old you are or how boring you are. Anyone ever made a jigsaw before? Yeah? Nice and high, guys. Who's built a jigsaw before? Just me? No, I'm joking. So you can look at this like Lego or a jigsaw, right? On the left is an editing timeline. You know, your CapCut app, your video. So it's like your sound, your video, your sound effects, your graphics, everything like that. Your subtitles, that's the left. And on the right, that's Lego. So for anyone who's actually built Lego before, you'll know that it's really complicated, but you just follow the steps. So here's my steps. 1, review all your footage and delete the rubbish clips. We all take rubbish clips, so just delete them because you're not going to need them. When you're filming, take too much, but then really cut it down afterwards. Next, color your clips. On the iPhone and Android phones, you can actually go in and push the edit button and tweak the settings. I say the easiest way to do that is, it's like going to the optician. Move it left, move it right, see what one works better. Put them into a rough order, and then build them. So that complicated editing framework is literally just piece, piece, piece. Intro, hook, this, sound effect. You just build it up really slowly. And then if anyone wants to chat to me afterwards, and there's no sell, it's free. Stephen Bartlett used it whenever I made it. No joke, weird, fast, name drop there. But there's a template to show you where to put all your text and stuff. So grab me afterwards at the table and I'll show you where to download that, because we've been given it's almost time to finish. Organic content takes time to grow, to make. 10,000 views to your perfect audience is better than 1 million to the general population. Some nerd will argue and say, well, conversion rates in this. Just generally speaking, that's the better way to go about it. And then, because we've only got 2 minutes left, social media myth busting. So I got 80 million views total, but I, over summer, purposefully experimented on a different account, got 500,000 views in a week by breaking all the rules. Take a picture of this. This is actually genuinely, we're past the point of jokes because we're trying to get to the end. Some people are like, yes. That is what you don't need, because you can teach someone all the stuff you do need. Always reference back, you don't need these things. We'll break them down and we can talk about them at the table. We'll move this conference to the table and make me look super popular. Hashtags, I could give you my story about it, but basically the Instagram CEO said, doesn't matter. I've been testing it. I proudly have never used a hashtag. Well, in modern video making, you don't need it. Most of my videos either come from the For You page or search. So what does that tell you? The hashtags, they're phasing them out. Trust me, bro. Posting at a certain time, yes or no. So basically, your videos get views in the first 28 to 48 hours. If they're good enough, 7 to 10 days. In short, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what time you post at. Don't worry about it. Subtitles, make sure you add your subtitles, because the built-in ones are inaccurate, and also you can make them better for your brand. And who here watches content with their sound off? Me. So work for yourself. And then as well, do you have to reply to comments? Well, if you're in a position to get comments, that's a good point. So reward the people who comment. And if you get hate, just block them. Doesn't matter. I get hate all the time for my accent. Don't care. Literally don't care. I encourage it. Stay within your niche, yes or no. So this is an insurance company. All they do is man on the street interviews. It's building their brand, it's building their awareness. Nickel Oils, for example, it's about that awareness. And then the last slide, because I can see Stephen back there. Last slide, Stephen. Is there a perfect video length? All right, we're done. No. Is there a perfect video length? The answer is no. So generally speaking, if you want to take a picture, because the numbers are in there, don't exceed 30 to 45 seconds. If your video is like a edge of your seat, every piece of information in your thing is super, super good. It can be a minute, it can be 2 minutes. I've had videos over a minute with 200,000 views, easy. But the way to look at it is, as long as it needs to be, but as short as possible. That's it. Take a picture of that, and we'll talk at the thing. Thank you, guys. You were actually genuinely such a good audience.